before doing this project, I went onto Photoshop, and you can do this on Canva, you can do this on Word actually, but anything that takes the background off of the images. So I created this family crest, if you can see that. And this is basically a bunch of things that relate to our family. So my husband and I actually went to high school together, and we're both from Illinois, and our parents actually grew up like in neighboring cities in the south side of Chicago. So we have the pierogi because he's mostly Polish. I am almost 100% Irish, so that's the shamrock. And then the Chicago flag, because that's where we were born and raised. Our last name is ridiculously long, so we go by Sis because it's way easier. So that's the Sis family. And then we're huge Green Bay Packer fans, which is always a fun thing in Chicago. But we went to Northern Illinois, so that's the Husky. And then the date, that one at the bottom, that is when our daughter was born this past year, April 1st. So this is kind of like our homemade family crest. So we kind of sat down, decided what we thought was important, and we created this. So we are doing this specifically. So you can make your own family crest, however you want to do it. There's all kinds of fun different ways that you can even go back to like the old ages, and they have all kinds of fun, like eagle means this and lion means this. So we kind of made ours a little less formal, but so the first things first is once you have your picture, whatever it is, you just print it on your printer. And then I bought some carbon paper, so I actually have the post linked that has all the materials that you can grab. But you have your carbon paper underneath, and I'm going to show you on a piece of wood because I already did a few steps on the box, on the DIY Christmas box. So I am going to kind of walk you through the steps of how I did that, and then kind of go to the other thing and show you the rest of the steps. So you want to make sure your carbon paper is face down so that when you actually write something. So the first time I tried this, I had it the wrong way. Which is like the smooth side, and that it didn't do anything. I was writing and nothing happened. So just make sure you have that side down. And then I'm just going to take standard pencil, and you can center it over your box, which I have all the box things linked. The one I have is like 13 by 9, but I have that linked in the post, which is under the video here. But you're basically just tracing whatever you're going to want to engrave on here. You're going to trace over the top, and it doesn't even need to be hard. You're just kind of making it so that it shows up underneath, which I think I have this backwards again. Yeah, there we go. See, it's easy to do, so if you don't, double check that you have something written there. But so as you go around, let's make sure that works. Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't have to be hard. You're basically just tracing over the top of this, and you want to darken in anything that you're going to engrave. So I have my pencil, my carbon paper. This would be my box that I'd be using. And then the other tools that I have, I'll kind of walk through as we do them, but I have my Maker X rotary tool, which is all portable, so it's just on battery operated, sitting here with me. And then we'll get to the paint part after this. So you're just tracing whatever it is that you want to engrave. So that's because it'll go away when you actually use the rotary tool. So I'm just tracing over the edges of this. And again, this would be on your box, but I'm just going to show you on a piece of wood here. And you're going to do that for all of the pieces. So I'm not going to do every piece while we sit here, but I will do a few so you can see like how letters work. And if I can't exactly see any comments, but I will definitely go back and answer if you have any questions about anything. So go ahead and type those in. But like for our flag, I wanted it to be kind of like deeper in the way the flag works. So I'm going to make those darker. Now, when I did this on the actual box, the stars, it's kind of hard to do stars. So I just did kind of, lines that make a star. But I can show you that when we're done. So basically, whatever thickness you want, you're going to kind of go over this. And then once you have this mapped on there, I'm going to do the husky because that was the harder one. I'll show you that. So again, you're just tracing over on the carbon paper, is basically imprinting this on there. Okay, so once you have that, so if you look, I actually created that same thing on my wood. So the carbon paper and a pencil is how you can transfer that on without really too much work. So that's kind of fun. You can probably use that for a bunch of other projects too. And I didn't trace everything because I just want to show you a few key things, but so let's see. All right, so once you have this on here, the tool that I'm going to use, so this is the rotary tool for the Maker X, which is a works tool. It just, I charge my battery, it's all portable, this isn't even plugged into anything. And it just has a nozzle on here that goes min to max. So I'm going to be about a little bit less than middle, so a little lower. And this is going to sound like you're drilling teeth. You're not at the dentist, I swear, and this is not painful in any way. But I'm using the rotary tool, and if you can see that, it's just got a little like indentation on the top. I don't know if you can see that. But it's called the rotary tool. It's just one of the things. So when you're doing this, the goal, since what we're going to do after this is you'll engrave it, you'll put shellac over it, which I already did, which is why that I'm not showing you this on the box. But once you do that, we're going to paint over it and be able to like almost fill the paint and then wipe off the excess. So you want to make sure that it's deep enough. So I'm not going to do too crazy right now as far as demonstration, but I would say, and it's all in the post too, which is under there, but I want you to go as deep as you can. So like you just want it to be like a valley, as much of a valley as you can put in there. So with the tool, it sounds like you're at the dentist, but you're not. And it rotates. So it's rotating, you know, round and round and round. If you want to smooth, you go with the rotation. If you want like to kind of get deeper, I'm going to go back and forth. I don't know if that's technical, if there's another way. This is just how I've been using it, and it's worked pretty good. What you'll notice though is sometimes it'll jump, and that's where you want to smooth it out with going with the spin. So when you're doing that, you're basically gonna have to go over it a few times, and this is thick wood. Like the boxes I have is not that thick, so it's not as crazy. But you're gonna go over this enough to make a valley. Now, if you don't make it deep enough, and then we go to the next step and you actually shellac this and you find that it's not deep enough when you're done, you can actually go back over it. You'll just have to add some sanding in and stuff like that. So I'll just do a few little pieces here, and I don't know how well you can see that from there, but I'll do a few lines and then I can show it to you. Okay, so if you can see, get the right angle on the lighting here, it's indented now. So it writes just like a pen. So there's not like a whole lot of finesse, and if you don't put it really high, like the knob, so because I'm just a little bit under the minimum, or under the middle, I guess is what I mean. It's like you're just writing like a pen. You're going back and forth, back and forth. And then when it starts to get kind of like, I guess, lumpy, I would go with the turn. So again, I don't know how well you can see that from there, but it's all indented here. So I'm just going over what I did on the carbon paper. So what had transferred, I'm just basically going right over it and getting deep enough so that that it actually has like an engraving piece to it. And you'll notice, like, even with the pierogi, like it's not hard to do little intricate details, which is nice. So I do feel like I have pretty good control when I'm doing that. If you wanted something like deeper, like a more engraved piece, you just would go over it, you know, over and over and over again like that. So let me show you. And mine's a little bit painted, so because I already was practicing, but so I have all of this on there, and you can see it's all in. So I didn't paint some stuff yet because we're going to do that together, but I basically have the valleys there all carved out. So once you have kind of gone over all of the pieces with your tool to kind of get the valleys and the engraving, I took, so from what I read, you're supposed to use shellac spray. Well, I didn't have shellac spray, so I used this lacquer, this Rust-Oleum lacquer spray, which basically the whole goal is that you want the top, before you paint it, you want the top of this to be easily wiped off. Now, we tried to like paint in the grooves without doing that. I had a practice box, and the practice box is sad. You don't want to see the practice box. But as you go through this, it's like to paint without doing the lacquer. If you try to paint over this, it like starts to mess up the actual what you don't want painted. So the lacquer piece of it, or the shellac spray, I did last night. I just did one coat, waited 10 minutes, another coat, waited 10 minutes, another coat, and then let it sit overnight. So it's pretty smooth, this finish, and it's kind of glossy. And then I decided I actually didn't go deep enough into the grooves because the shellac was covering it. So I actually took my tool again, and I just went over it again this morning. So if you have to do that, because it's not like you can't feel the thickness to get the valleys, you can go over that. And that's actually not a bad thing, because even if it takes the lacquer out of the engraved part, the paint will adhere in there, but like it'll soak it up, and that's where you want the paint to be anyway. So in doing that, I did a few different colors, so I'm going to go through that piece. But when you get to this next step, make sure I'm not missing steps. Let's see, I think I'm going to do white for this. So all I have is I have this, which one? It's like a little paintbrush, a little guy. So we're basically going to go in circles, and we're just going to fill this as best we can. Now, I can already tell that some of this I'll probably have to go through again, like go through the paint after it dries a little bit. So I'm just using acrylic paint. So this one is Wicker White. I linked all of that in the blog post too, which is under the video. The red I have on there is Barnyard Red from the same folk art, and then Hunter Green. So those are the ones. Now I'm sure they have other ones if you wanted to do, like, you know, just because it's Christmas doesn't mean you have to have, you know, red and green. But I also have some glitter paint in Champagne from Crest Smart, which I may end up going over some of this after that. But basically, let's see. Make sure I can see all the things here. I have my paint, and I'm going to go over where I want it. And I'm just going in circles over the engraved pieces. and trying to get in there enough so that I know that it's all covered. And again, you may have to go over this again once it's dry to get more layers. But then you're going to take a paper towel and get it damp and then wipe away the excess off the top. And if you did the engraving deep enough, what'll happen is you'll have it just in the creases. So you'll wipe away the extra, but the paint will just sit in the creases. And again, you might have to do a couple of coats, and you can notice, I don't know if you noticed when I just showed that it's a little bit green. When you, like if you're gonna do multiple colors, when I was doing the green, I was doing my circles, and then I circled over the other the other pieces that I hadn't done yet. So it got a little bit green near there. So if that matters to you, I'm a perfectionist, but not all at the same time. Like I care and I don't, you know, it just depends on where my head's at. So I think it looks kind of cool. And, you know, this is a family project. So, you know, my husband helped me come up with the crest and all that. So, you know, to each his own. But if that matters to you, then just be careful as you're wiping it away that you stay within your space there. And basically you're just going to do the same kind of thing for each of these. And you could do them all at once if you're going to do all one color. It doesn't matter, but again, you might just have to do a couple of coats, and you're just trying to get in there enough to cover all of that space. And then take a damp cloth and wipe off the top part. So it's just left in the valleys. Now, if you end up not liking the color or something, like maybe this white isn't popping enough, I can always go back over it in a different color, either now or while it dries or when it dries. So you would keep doing that for each of the pieces, and then the second part that I have, so that's my quick tutorial on the top. And we haven't decided, like, are we going to do anything with this? Are we going to leave it natural wood? My husband really likes natural wood, so we were kind of thinking this would just be the cool piece of this. So on the inside, I'm actually putting some, this is just wrapping paper I had from Amazon. I also linked that in the blog post, but just to give it some fun. So when you open it up, it's like, you know, your gift wrapped package. So here's the piece of that. So I already did the top one. Turns out I'm really bad at decoupage, so some of you are probably better at this, but I'm going to walk through this bottom layer because I read a little bit on it and watched a few videos to see, like, maybe does this work. So they said to paint the wood, and I don't know, like, I'm always trying to skip steps to get things done as quickly as possible, which is probably not a great thing, but at least when it comes to, like, you know, creative projects, because I like to see the final product. So if I don't worry too much about perfectionism, then, you know, maybe I get something cool, but maybe sometimes it's like that other box and I have to throw it away. But so matte Mod Podge is like the it thing because it doesn't show glossy if you get all messy with it. So all I'm gonna do is in the box is put a thin layer in here for the paper to glue on there. Now I read that when you're putting the glue, and some of you are probably like, wait, like, okay, who is this lady? Like, duh, we know how to do this, or you're amazing at decoupage. But I used to be a cheerleading coach way back when, and we would do all kinds of fun stuff like this. So the last time I did any decoupage things was when we were doing like fun stuff that way. But see if I can see anything there. Okay, so I have my matte Mod Podge in here. And so you just want to cut it, obviously, your paper to size. I already did that, but when you're cutting it to size, I used, I'll show you, I used my little mat, and I actually used to sew a bunch, so I have this stuff from my sewing days, but I've been using it for paper, which I know is like a fabric to paper is a no-no, but my little rotary tool. So I find those to be really quick and easy when you are trying to cut stuff straight and quick. So that's what I used for this. But so I have my paper cut to size, and what the lady said, I should figure out who that lady is and tell her I was talking about her, but she said to go in the middle and kind of smooth it. Let's see, I'm terrible at this. Lay it in there. And she said to use, well, cling wrap, but I don't have cling wrap, so I figured I would grab one of these, but to smooth it out from the middle out so that it doesn't get bubbly and stuff. Again, some of you might be better at this than me, but my specialty is time-saving tips on DIYs and decorating. So if you're into that too, that is over on my blog as well. So I'm not, crafts is I used to actually, I actually started in crafts before I did my Home Your Home. It was positivelybliss.com, and it was almost solely crafts. And then I decided, like, well, I think I like the decor side better, and I just spray painted countertops my last project. So like some of the bigger stuff I like. So it's not perfect. How do we get the bubbles? Maybe someone can share with us, but it's not terrible. It does the job for me anyway. And I'm here for ideas anyway. I'm sure I can get your brain flowing, and so that works, but it's, not perfect. There are some bubbles in there, but I like a little. They say Indian art always has one flaw, or, maybe more flaws, I don't know, but they do it on purpose to, show that, perfection isn't achievable, and to remind yourself that nothing is perfect. And so I do all the projects like that. So these are all my Indian art ways, but I'm really just trying to pretty this up, which I think I like. You could do all sides if you're really good at that. But the fun part, and the part that is the whole reason I started this thing, is because we're going to start this tradition. We're going to start, this will be our Christmas Eve box, and we'll fill it with all kinds of fun stuff. So one of my ideas, which I listed on the blog post, we were looking for something with significance, a type of activity we could do, a fun tradition to look forward to each year, and then, something festive to eat. So for sure, what I came up with is I have family pajamas, which we have never done. So we just had our daughter April 1st, and we do have a fur baby. So I was already a mom before my little baby, but so we've never done family pajamas. I would dress the dog, but like we would never wear anything the same. So that's changing. We're starting a new tradition. So I got, my daughter will be 9 months by then. So I got her a pair. I got me some pajamas that I'm going to throw in there. And my husband has a shirt, and the dog has the same shirt. Now tell me this isn't the best thing you ever saw. Like, he's going to wear the family pajamas. So, so those are all going to go in our box, and we're going to probably pick like a movie or something, a fun movie that we're going to watch. We thought a cool idea would be to take a picture from the year and then either frame it or like always keep it in the box and keep adding year over year. And, 20 years from now, it's almost like a keepsake memory box. But yeah, so we're like creating your family crest is just kind of the fun, what describes your family, kind of thinking of how the tradition's going to go, how you want to keep this. This is probably not like the heirloom that, my daughter and her kids will want to have, forever, but it's something fun and different, and it describes our family, and, something fun to make the holidays a little more meaningful this year. So family crest, the painting, and I'm going to finish that and post that, the finished product, for you guys. When I do that, I think I might change the color, instead of the white, I might go, with more red. So, I'm going to do that, but yeah, this is my DIY Christmas Eve box that we're creating. So I hope you like that. And, if it sparks other ideas, that's that's half of the fun of crafts and DIY is get your brain flowing. So if you come up with anything fun, I would love to know what you're doing, because we don't have everything picked out of what we're going to put in it yet, but you know, I have some ideas that I put on the blog there. So thanks so much for hanging out with me and you know, seeing how I do my Christmas Eve box. But if you want to learn more, there is the link that's attached to this video underneath in the description, and it has a link to the post that has everything I talked about. And yeah, I hope you guys have the most amazing holiday, and I'll post the finished product once I have these colored the way that I want, and get a couple more layers on here. But yeah, well, happy, oh my gosh, what's today? Is it Monday? It's Monday. Have a great Monday. It's Monday, so hopefully this made your Monday a lot more festive. Have a great day.